You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White sports supporters, let's talk about the Steelers and to a certain extent the Browns, because Will Howard, quarterback out of Ohio State, national championship quarterback out of Ohio State, a guy that I honestly thought the Steelers were going to give a legit chance to until they drafted Drew Allar. And then it was like, uh-oh. When they drafted Drew Allar in the third round, I was like, I'm not so sure about this. It certainly seems like to me they're waiting on Aaron Rodgers to show up, which I do expect he will. Even though there's a lot of weirdness there, yes, I do think Aaron Rodgers will show up. And I think they're looking at a one-year development of Drew Allar and then put him out there to start. I think that's the plan. So what happens to Will Howard? And I got to be honest, I'm really shocked that he's not going to get a chance. And if, did he lose his chance when he got hurt? And now we got Will Howard out here blaming Shedeur Sanders for his fall in the draft, which is pretty wild, but to a certain extent, I kind of understand he's not directly blaming Shedeur Sanders, like personally. He is just saying when Shedeur Sanders started to fall, that the other quarterbacks all got affected by that were quote unquote graded out behind him. He believes that's why he fell, Quinn Ewers fell, and some of the other guys that got drafted later. That he had heard he was going to be a second day pick, a Friday pick. But Shedeur kept dropping. Now, Andrew Berry took Dylan Gabriel, but let's be real, that's sort of an outlier that never should have happened. We all know that. I liked Will Howard in the third round, and then when he kept dropping, now I had Shedeur as more like a second-round guy. Speaking on the Christian Kuntz podcast, Will Howard said he expected to hear his name on day 2 of the draft. He pointed to what happened to Sanders as a reason he didn't. Quote, I thought there was a chance I was going on Friday. I was hearing that. I remember talking to some of the guys from the Steelers. And it was really that whole Shedeur situation that his sliding really hurt a lot of the other quarterbacks in our class. Just because he was ranked a little bit higher. So nobody wanted to take guys like me or Riley Leonard or Kyle McCord or Quinn Ewers. We were all like late picks. Interesting. 5 quarterbacks were selected in the first 2 days. Dylan Gabriel, Cam Moore, Jackson Dart. Tyler Shuck was in there, by the way. Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck look like the right picks. I think the jury's out on Cam Moore right now. I really do. I've said this is a huge year. So now over to Drew Allar. He was the 76th pick in the draft. Look, you take a guy. The third round is a place where you think that guy's got some starter potential. Bryant McFadden, former player on CBS Sports HQ, said the following about Will Howard. Quote, this is a very, very tough spot to be in, McFadden said, because drafting Drew Allar in the third round actually provides more questions than answers at the Steelers quarterback position. Was this Will Howard hype train that we've been hearing through the entire offseason legit? Or was it just some hoopla? It is weird. I mean, I thought that they were grooming Will Howard to take over this job, or was going to, for Aaron Rodgers, and then bam, Drew Allar, and it was like, oh shit. If you're taking Drew Allar in the third round, you got some real questions about Will Howard now. By the way, I love Will Howard. I think he deserves a shot, but maybe he looks terrible behind the scenes. I don't know. All we've heard is Will Howard, Will Howard, Will Howard, and now it's like, what? 6'4", 235. I remember watching him on John Gruden's QB camp. First thing John Gruden said was, Jesus, you're big, and you got the same skill set as Josh Allen. Why is nobody talking about that? I was like, damn good question. 6'4", 235. He does not have Josh Allen's arm. Drew Allar's got Josh Allen's arm, and yeah, he does. Drew Allar's arms is arguably like a top 5 arm in the league. It's a freaking sniper rifle, a 50 cal. Will Howard's got an average arm. That's kind of the big problem. But he checked a lot of the other boxes. 73% completion percentage. 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 picks in that Ohio State National Championship year. 1,200 attempts, 63.8%, 9,796 yards, basically 9,800 yards, 83 touchdowns to 35 picks, and also 1,100 yards on the ground, 26 touchdowns. He is a true dual threat quarterback and a big one. It's like, what's happening here? Hey, it's a little strange. Mark Madden, who covers the Steelers out there, of course, for 105.9, the following. Drew Allar versus Will Howard is a mismatch. 3rd round versus 6th round. QB factory versus weak arm. QB factory, Penn State? I'm not saying there's not some QBs that's come out of there, but Christian Hackenberg also came out of there. So let's not get out of hand. McCarthy can teach Allar what he doesn't know. McCarthy can't give Howard what he doesn't have, talking about the arm. He does not have a weak arm, though. I disagree with that. It's an average arm, but I wouldn't call it. It's not Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's got a weak-ass arm. I'm sorry I brought him up, Steelers fans, but you get my point. Now you understand. Allar's a possible starter. Will Howard's a practice squad lifer. Now, by the way, he got destroyed in the comment section over there. Will Howard has got a lot of cred with Steelers fans. They want to see what he's got. I kind of don't blame them. But, he got hurt, so he didn't have a preseason for us to watch. You got to wonder, is the cards just, is it not in the cards because he got injured? That's pretty interesting that he brought up Shedeur, because I can tell you this. Does Quinn Ewers come out if he thinks he's going in the 7th round? Especially when you consider there was a rumor that North Carolina had a $5 million offer to him on the table. Belichick offered Quinn Ewers $5 million to come play quarterback, and he turned that down. I think his contract with the Dolphins is just over $4 million for like 4 years. It's like $4.75 million for 4 years versus $5 million at North Carolina for 1 year. You would have had to have thought Quinn Ewers thought he was going a lot higher than the 7th round. So that is interesting. Is it possible that Shedeur Sanders' drop spooked everybody else out of drafting quarterbacks besides Andrew Berry? And it certainly wouldn't have, we know it wouldn't have affected Jackson Dart. It wouldn't have affected Tyler Shough, because both of those guys are clearly better than Shedeur coming out. It wasn't even close. But Shedeur was the 3rd guy. Even for me, he was the 3rd guy. Well, he would have been the 4th guy. Cam Ward was in there. But you get my point. I had him as like a 2nd round dude. So he's talking to the Steelers, and the Steelers are, if you read that right, are telling him Shedeur's drop is delaying all the teams of drafting quarterbacks. That's interesting. I'm going to be interested to see the fan reaction to that, because Shedeur fans going to destroy this guy. I know that's what's going to happen, but obviously, guys, I don't know. Let me say this. We moved the football content from Black and White Sports 2 over to this newly created channel. It was created in March of last year, 1 month before that draft that Shedeur was in and Will Howard was in. I'm here to tell you that draft weekend is still, it sucked all of the air out of the entire draft. That one thing, Shedeur dropping in the draft. And I can tell you, the coverage of this year's draft, nothing like last year. The views, the interaction, people wanting to know what the hell was going on, keeping up with it, the fallout from that over the course of 3 months. I mean, it was, I don't know. I'm not sure I buy that, but Will Howard has heard that from somebody that's told him. Tell me what you think. Is Will Howard going to have to leave? I'm starting to think he may have to leave to get a shot in the NFL after the Steelers took Drew Allar. I don't know. Maybe they would let him battle it out. After all, Brock Purdy beat out Trey Lance, who went number 3 overall. 7th round guy versus number 3 overall. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.